Odeshi, for instance, that is the bulletproof charm, should not be done. Now, I can also tell you that a lot of people in the security architecture, even people in Agune Chamber, a lot of them are going for it to protect themselves against any form of harm. All right, so it's.
I don't think actually Soludo is against those ones.
No, if
he said they should be registered for like proper regulation.
Yeah, I know. If those people, registration is not where I have the problem.
Okay, why do you?
My problem is where him trying to say that Anambra is a Christian state. Anambra is not a Christian state.
No human being should have the right to tell another mortal what, how, or who he should worship.
Yes,
those are rights that are given to us by God. And even God himself, even the Christian Bible himself made it clear that the choice of who you worship is left to the human.
Yeah, it's very personal. It's very personal.
This is the Steropsis.
The governor of Anambra State is arresting native doctors, allegedly indecent dressing also.
Yes.
So he has generated a lot of debates. Some people are actually applauding him, and a lot of people are not happy with him also.
He made a mistake when he stated that Anambra is a Christian state.
Did he actually say so officially?
Yeah, he did. And then it must be corrected that Anambra, like Nigeria generally, is a secular state where the freedom of worship and freedom of association is
that their law all about? There's a new law they passed.
The law was
new Anambra.
It's actually a law that is aimed, is a security law anyway.
Yes.
That is aimed at mitigating some practices that goes, The intention of that law is to help the government of Anambra fight insecurity and insurgency, as is predominant currently in the southeast. And everybody knows that Anambra State was highly affected by the rise in insurgency amongst dissident Igbo youths. But notwithstanding, you cannot actually put it on the native doctors alone when you talk about insurgency, because in as much as the native doctors works for some group of criminal, and those sort of native doctors are also criminally minded too. It's not every native doctor that allows certain people to come and acquire certain charms or certain supernatural powers from them.
Some people are saying that he's doing good, that these people have caused a lot of problems in the southeast. The issue of the ESN and the killing and kidnapping actually being sponsored by a lot of these native doctors.
You can't say sponsored. A native doctor, listen, a native doctor to the traditionalist is like the pastor in the church for a Christian. Now, you cannot say because a lot of pastors are making fake miracles. That means all the pastors are faking it.
No, but
the same applies to native doctors.
Yes, I agree with you totally.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said it before off camera that no human being should have the right to tell another mortal what, how, or who he should worship.
Yes.
Those are rights that are given to us by God. And even God himself, even the Christian Bible himself made it clear that the choice of who you worship is left to the human.
Yeah, it's very personal. It's very personal.
That being said, Soludo has a right. Like, I just going through the state law. He's actually establishing Agune Chamber as Anambra State security outfit.
Yes, of course.
And they're having other security apparatus in different villages and town unions organized. So maybe, don't you think that some of those people who are like remember, before now, somebody that one House of Assembly member was actually kidnapped, murdered, and dumped somewhere.
At the River Niger.
Maybe some of those people indicted some of these native doctors, and some of what they are saying is actually evidence online about how they are promoting without actually work.
Nobody acquires wealth without working. You cannot see, let's say a Yahoo boy, for instance, who goes and then does Okite, and then comes back and sits and then gets money. All right? One thing is for sure, just like a lot of pastors are preaching prosperity in their own way. A lot of native doctors are just after what can give some of those young boys money, even without caring about the implication of even the juju work that they do. We see them do a lot of Okite, Uduakomili, Igbo, and all the rest. And these are done for people who are not into any form of legitimate business anyway.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
that's what he's trying to stop.
Now,
And
it's not it, but because there are also people who are into businesses, who are going for some of those type of medicines or juju, so as to give a boost to their own business.
no, he's not going. I don't think he's going to go after those.
I'm coming.
He wouldn't be
I'm
that
coming.
crazy to go after.
For
some
instance,
people.
now, if the Anambra State government says, Odeshi, for instance, that is the bulletproof charm, should not be done. Now, I can also tell you that a lot of people in the security architecture, even people in Agune Chamber, a lot of them are going for it to protect themselves against any form of harm. All right, so it's.
I don't think actually Soludo is against those ones.
No, if
He said they should be registered for like proper regulation.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of
If
churches are
those
registered.
people, registration is not where I have the problem.
Okay, why do you
My
have the problem?
problem is where him trying to say that Anambra is a Christian state. Anambra is not a Christian state because if you go to the region of Omambla, where you have all these Agulu, Igbo, you see they have a large deposit of native traditional worshippers. And now even those who pretend to go to church within those axes, you see that they are most times you see that they are Agada Christians.
I know Nigeria
Christians in the morning, traditionalists at night.
I know Nigeria is a secular state and it has no right to actually declare any state Christian or Muslim state. Any person should have the right to freedom of worship
and practice their own religion too.
Whatever
I think what he should do is to find a way to clamp down on the emphasis of those sort of charms that requires the use of some human parts,
sacrifice,
or that requires human sacrifices, because those sort of charms, they know them by name.
So how do you get to the root of that
you know them by name?
They are being investigated, and I think some of them have been
released.
Yeah,
some of them have been released, but
that means Soludo
arresting them. Now I can listen. Maybe if I give you a gun, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've given you the gun. I don't know your intention of asking me for a gun, right? I can give you a gun and use it for self-protection. And then I can give you a gun and then you go ahead and use it for armed robbery.
Mm-hmm.
It is not my choice what you do with what I've given you.
There's no related from the consequence of the law when you are licensed to actually deal with those guns.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
If you're actually licensed to deal with the gun and maybe your own role is just to check background of the guy's age, and maybe he had a mental problem or thereabout.
Yes.
And then when you do your proper, the guy's up to 18 and give the guy the gun, whatever thing he does with the gun, you are not going to be held accountable. Mm-hmm. That's what he's trying to do now. Get them registered so that we know when they are out of. If somebody is arrested now, and the guy says, "This is the guy that did this thing for me. This one that did something." Go to the person.
I think the challenge that Ordinana has on its own is that it does not have a well-defined framework of operation. You understand?
And maybe that's what Soludo should focus on.
Which is a well-documented procedure of doing certain things in Ordinana. Sometimes they are just passed from one person to the other. They are not properly documented.
And I think that's where the government should get it. No. If they must be regulated, I think just the way you have the medicine now, you may not be allowed to perform abortion on those things.
Yes.
And actually do it medically.
And there is an aspect of that regulation which I am very concerned about.
Okay, what is that?
If you must regulate maybe a Christian, you cannot ask a native doctor to regulate the activities of Christians. So if Soludo must regulate the activities of native doctors in Anambra State, he must look for people who are core gospel of truth of what Ordinana stands for. And then they should serve as the regulators. Don't go and bring, because no, I tell you,
no, it's not. See, Soludo can form Soludo may not know things about the form a committee, but Soludo has the mandate of the people for the next. It's not a year now. They have election.
By November.
He was elected by the people, and according to what you are practicing, democracy is empowered. If the people have made the law and they've passed the law through the state assembly, and then this is what they want, then Soludo is it
the state assembly that is a rubber stamp?
No, the state assembly, no matter what it is, but for the meantime, there must be that law and order for us to actually live together. Soludo is empowered by the law to do whatever thing he's doing now. He's within the circumference of his own right, jurisdiction to do whatever thing he's doing now. He's the governor.
But when you overstep what I feel is your boundary,
I think so.
It becomes something.
Yes, I agree.
It's setting a dangerous precedent. Yes. Anyway, you can't tell me that there are nobody from Anambra who is also a Muslim.
There are.
All right. So you can't come out and tell me that Anambra is a Christian state. And now when you come up, there is another one. He said that if you see a young man who is sitting, who has nothing doing, and then he comes out and he lavishes money, drives expensive cars, you should report them. And then you don't also know that there are so many group of young men who sit in their parlor, they trade on Bitcoin legitimately, and then they sit in their parlor. There are people who are occupationally gamblers.
Yeah, they make money.
All right, and then they also make money.
Those things have serious proofs.
No, they think the truth is...
If the person reported, the truth is, things are not working. Even abroad, most of the officers work from the information given to them by normal citizens.
Yes.
So if actually somebody is driving Range Rover, is not doing anything in the neighborhood, and the person reported, it's a good thing. Now, but where I have problem is there should be proper investigation. If somebody is a gambler, your accounts will show.
Yes.
What they said now, I work on all those under investigation. They said Akwason is like 10 years. You have 7 of his accounts have been frozen, and they are running checks the last 10 years. If nothing is found,
these are but sometimes I feel that aspect of it would be a very hard nut to crack, and it will lead to a lot of impunity.
If you had good security system, they don't need to know about all these things. This thing should have been done. They get court warrants. If they can go to court and prove with evidence that okay, this guy is considered a security threat to this state, courts could grant them those warrants, and they can run before even this gets to this level.
When you give these people those sort of power, abuse of power are bound to arise.
No.
Because what will happen?
A judge must actually sign off the warrant.
Yes, of course.
They cannot just go and start investigating somebody. Police cannot just walk into the bank and say, give me this guy's record.
No.
It must be with a court order. Yes. And then sometimes at a level, they want to notify the person they're under investigation. But that's where they have to freeze the person's account. Yes. That's why they cannot actually do it in isolation. Because if the guy notices the guy will come out his own money around. Huh?
Yes, of course.
And then travel abroad with the money.
It's not really easy most times. The EFCC on their own part, they've been trying to crack down on Yahoo boys. But sometimes I begin to ask a question. What about all those political criminals that are even within their cycle? And then they are not, sometimes they are just political jobbers. They do nothing and then they eat state funds. Have they clamped down on those ones? They've not.
No.
You've left them and then now you're even crying about those Yahoo boys. Basef. The Yahoo boys, have you provided job enough for them? Is there a good foundation that if I go and learn maybe one work or the other, that there is job for me within the state? Or have you provided a situation whereby because see, let me tell you, a lot of these guys can do very well in tech. Now, if you use some of those people, you empower them to go into tech, you think they won't be able to perform.
Yeah.
You've not provided those ones, and now these people, the life they are living per se right now is a kind of a jungle life. Survival of the fittest. Yeah, everybody must do whatsoever they will do to survive.
You can see that a lot of their actions are actually affecting the society and their neighbors. And Soludo must do something. This election year, and I would just advise any person
no.
who is practicing that place to be careful because
But
it's going to actually
for me,
sometimes
sometimes
it's going to be decisive, but they must do something because election is coming around September.
I tell you that during that election, he will also ask a lot of those traditionalists to come vote for him or where.
No, if he has not actually offended, my
and
problem
then,
is
and then everybody will not be at home with it. I, for one, I'm not really at home with those.
A lot of people are not at home with it. You're
all
not
right.
the only person who is not at home
Now,
with it.
and then another issue or another place I actually hailed him is his show or his instruction that the water bodies in Anambra State should not be called the carcass of it into the river.
I think they shouldn't even be going to what some of them could get the thing, maybe a kind of well behind the house and do it.
Yeah, so
they could go fetch the water, do it. Whatever
yes, of course. Even sometimes you see a lot of this is why I can tell you majority of them are tired harlots, and then you see them behaving anyhow, wearing beads, leg chains, and all whatnot, and walking around the place. And that's even where you see some of them walking around everywhere, braless.
Okay, now
Soludo too. Have set out a precedent that those who walk around braless should be arrested in Anambra.
What do you think that should be? Is it not? It's not just joblessness.
No, it's not joblessness. That is absolute madness on its own. Igbo people are people of culture. The first place I saw women walking and gallivanting around everywhere, braless and panless, was in Calabar.
Can't we take our
and
mind
then
off? Can't we take our mind off braless and this one?
If for me, it's my own opinion.
I want to ask you now: if a governor comes to say, boys should be told that they are wearing boxers or pants,
no, of course nobody is going to check you if you are wearing pants, but people will know when you don't wear bra. Or you have to get something because the moment your nipples are actually protruding,
do you think this should have handled separately? Get other maybe there are other government departments that could actually would have done.
Yes,
maybe if you find out, I think that I have a problem with. I'm not supporting any person dressing indecently, but this thing is a cultural thing. Something is coming in, and it's not something you just use a selection. They're learning from somewhere.
Yes,
you can see this. Is it Arasta? They are very popular. That won Grammy and all this. That she was on the stage somewhere abroad, and somebody threw like a bra to her or something like that. Now this thing is kind of a cultural thing. And it's not something they can just solve by chasing them up and down.
The truth is, most of our girls, they are trying to be more American than Americans. And the problem is we copy the wrong things and we fail to copy the right one.
But on the other one, I don't think they are going to get how do they make it legal? You can't just arrest somebody without having because we're not running a banana republic.
If the law, just like the clamp down on native doctors, is already being implemented. If it has passed through the house and then it becomes a policy
of what?
That Anambra is a braless state.
Who defines what is a bra and
what do you call it? No, bra. Okay, listen. Just imagine young men walking around the street without wearing underpants. You just wear maybe shirt that will cover your privacy.
Do you know how many guys that walk around without wearing boxers?
No. But let this thing not be. It's a distraction.
That's all right. That's
now when you get raped from indecent dressing,
no, I don't really support indecent dressing, but I don't think governor should be getting into all this kind of thing.
Well, he's another issue.
Going to implement this
I just feel that he has been largely inactive as a governor, and now just few months to the election, he wants to do a fire brigade approach and then bring some policies. That is what he's doing. Because I don't see those things getting him to anywhere. If you want to tackle insurgency, it's not by actually going after the native doctors. All right? If you didn't catch those native, except if being found that maybe a particular native doctor is a ringleader of criminals, then it's understandable.
Yeah,
or you are a drug lord. it's understandable, or you're into any form of one illegal business or the other, the person should be taken,
that's what I'm
tried,
saying. That's
and
what I'm saying,
convicted.
that once investigations are out, because you're going to face a judge in the court.
Yes.
You can't just come up and say this guy needs to do that.
No, because why I'm actually very angry with him is because he's making mockery of Ordinana on his own. He said in one of the statements that if any of those native doctors will be able to disappear,
I think it was a very careless statement.
now, that if any of those native doctors is able to disappear from the cells, from their cell, then he will believe whatever they are saying.
No,
Then you will ask him if, as any Christian that he claims to be, ever have been able to prove miracles, or have they been able to turn water into wine?
I don't want to go.
All right.
I don't want to go into detail on this thing because, like I usually say, religion does not yield to logic, and that's why leaders across the world, they are very, very careful about religious issues. They stay away from it.
Yes.
You must handle it carefully, tactfully, and strategically. Now, like you said, it's setting a terrible precedent. If this is not properly handled, imagine in the future somebody who is not a Christian wins an election.
Mm-hmm.
Then he has a launch pad to actually destroy the whole church.
Yes, of course.
Because he can just label somebody an extremist,
Yes.
preacher. I guess you are.
And then some people you will
And
know
close down the church.
some people too are also extremists, Christians. Because you can't tell me, for instance, that a church will come out and tell you that if you wear a vest, that is a bulletproof vest. And then people were killed. Is it not in Ebonyi State the other day by Fulani headsmen?
No, I don't really want to get into. Like I told you, you don't really argue things about faith logically. They don't use the logic. And when governor is trying to, DNDC will not make them to repent and become Christian.
No.
Arresting them will make them to become Christian.
What so many of them will do is what the Christians did when they were being prosecuted during the time of religious the persecution of Christians. What they will do is they will go underground. All right? You will not see so many of them on social media anymore. So it's just an aimless action and then an embarrassment to the state as a whole.